Stretch our arms above our head and our legs nice and long, pointing the toes, pointing the fingers, getting a nice morning stretch, they like to call it. We can do it any time of day. And bringing our feet to the mat, knees to the sky, and then bringing our knees in towards our chest and giving ourselves a nice hug. It's a nice way to start a practice focused on self-love, is with a big hug. And if you'd like to rock back and forth a little bit to massage your back, you absolutely can. And let's elongate the left leg, keeping the right leg hugged up towards our chest. And then take the ankle and rotate it in one direction. Breathing and relaxing as we go. Maybe noticing if there's any tension in our shoulders or upper body. Slowing things down and then rotating the ankle in the other direction. And coming to a stop. Let's elongate the right leg, bring the left leg up into a hug, and hug it into our chest, rotating the left ankle in one direction. And other direction. Coming to a stop and elongating the left leg out. Let's bring the arms overhead one more time like we're doing a morning stretch, except this time let's bring the upper body and arms over to the right and the legs over to the right as well into a banana pose. And if you like, and if it's accessible to you, you can cross left leg over, left ankle over right. And we try in this pose to adjust, if we like, a little bit more to the right for a bit more of a C shape to the right, keeping our left shoulder on the ground and our left hip on the ground. So we don't want to be rolling over to the right with our torso. And breathing into the lovely left body side stretch. Coming to center and moving over to the other side. So arms and legs to the left. If you like, crossing right ankle over left. Adjusting to lower the right hip and lower the right shoulder if it's elevated. And inching more a little to the left if that's accessible for you. And relaxing into this pose. And coming back to center, let's hug that right knee in one more time. And then bring the knee across the body to the left. You probably want to lift up your left hip just a little bit to make sure that your torso is nice and long from neck to backside. And then you could do a few things with your arms. You could have your arms out in a T. You could do goalpost arms. Or you could do a half T with your right arm long and the left hand just gently resting on that right knee. And gently guiding the knee up towards the sky, readjusting your hips, lengthening out the right leg, bringing that left leg in, hugging it up nice and close to our body. And then bringing it over to the right as we adjust our hips. Just lifting up that right hip a little bit to keep everything in one nice long line. We're trying to keep the left shoulder on the mat. and trying to relax into the lower spine. Never pushing anything too much, but if it's available to you and you want to apply a little bit of gentle pressure with the right hand, you can do that with the knee. Then coming back to center and adjusting the hips, and then rolling over to one side and coming to a seat. Let's get some movement into the neck and shoulder areas. We can start by checking our seating position. So making sure we can feel our sitting bones, our spine is nice and long, our crown is to the sky, our shoulders are down and away from our ears. And then tipping the chin down. Feeling a nice lengthening of the back of the neck. Then tip the chin up, eyes to the skies. Chin down, chin up. Exhale and lower. Inhale and lift. And come back to neutral. Let's do some shoulder shrugs to work out any tension in the shoulders. We'll bring shoulders up to ears and then drop and relax. And exhale and relax and let it go. Inhale, tense, tense, tense. And exhale and down. And maybe on the downward motion, we can sort of consciously lower the shoulders away from the ears. See how that feels. And then up towards the ears. Up, 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 scrunch, scrunch, scrunch. And relax and down. Bringing the arms up overhead and bringing hands to high prayer, keeping our shoulders away from the ears, flipping the palms to the sky, interlacing the fingers. Let's tip to the right, keeping the left shoulder rotated up and to the center. Arms in towards the ears, biceps to the ears, tipping to the left. Making sure we're breathing as we're doing this. And to the center. One more time on the right. And center. And left. And center. And coming back to putting our hands in a high prayer and bringing them down to the center of our chest, to our solar plexus. Let's do some arm sweeps. So bringing the hands down and arms up, meeting at the top and coming down through the center line. And down and up. Meeting at the top and coming through the center and breathing up. Exhale down and a few more times on your own. And then one more time. Inhale it up and hands down and to your lap. And let's recross our legs to balance things out. Let's float the arms up one more time into seated Urdhva Hastasana and bring the arms to angel wings. Nice and strong in between the shoulder blades. Really open up that chest. Open up the heart and the solar plexus. And then let's bring the elbows together to the midline and hands, palms together, center. Open up. And arms, elbows, palms to center. And a few more times on your own. Inhaling and exhaling. One more time. And float the hands down, hands to knees, and let's get some movement into the torso. So bringing the chest forward, rotating back, and forward and back. I don't know about you, but I find this pose sometimes, although it's super simple, can feel a lot going on in my lower back, which good things going on, but lots. It's good to move it around. Breathing as we go, and then coming to a gentle stop and moving into the other direction. I always think about stirring a pot when I do this pose. And slowly coming to a gentle stop. Let's check our seated position. Sitting bones into the mat, spine nice and long, chin parallel to the floor and crown to the sky. Let's bring the right hand behind us, sort of back behind us near our right glute. Take the left arm and put the hand on the lower right thigh, just above the knee. Elongate the spine on the inhale. Exhale and twist and look over the right shoulder. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and twist. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Coming back through center. And bringing the left hand behind us this time, right hand on the, using the left knee as leverage this time. Nice long spine. Inhale and twist and look to the left, gazing over the left shoulder. Inhale and long. Sigh it out and twist. One more time, nice. Inhale. So lengthen up that spine and then exhale and twist. And then coming back to center. Let's move now into a kneeling position. Well, not kneeling, sitting on our heels. I guess it's the lazy person's kneeling, sitting on our heels. In hero's pose. Being conscious of opening up the heart, opening up the chest, bringing the shoulder blades slightly together, shoulders away from the ears. Sitting up nice and tall and sort of channeling your inner hero. Kind of embody this, the intention of this pose. Nice dignified pose. And now, if it feels good, we can lean forward, tuck the toes, and slowly settle back onto the heels. Now, I know you've had a lot going on today. You've had a lot of walking and exercise. So if this is too much, you can stay in hero's pose. But if this feels good, you can stay with that. And of course, you can lean forward a little bit if it's too much. And breathe. Don't hold your breath. Nice flowing breath can really help release any tension. Nice long spine. And then coming forward, bringing the tops of the feet to the mat, coming up to full kneeling position. So not previous lazy kneeling, but full kneeling position. Let's lengthen up through the spine, crown to sky. Take the arms behind us and fists into the lower back. We're going to do some preparation for camel pose. So really lifting up through the chest, through the solar plexus, because we want to prevent any compression in the lower spine. And then leaning back into a back bend, looking up at the ceiling. Bringing elbows together, lifting through that chest. opening the throat. And coming back to a kneeling position. Let's open up the knees, bring the feet together, the toes together, and move into child's pose. And take a breath or two here in child's pose. Now, coming back up to a kneeling position. We'll try this pose one more time. So opening up the chest, opening up the collarbones, bringing those arms back behind us, bringing the shoulder blades together, fists into the small of the back, really lifting up through that chest, and then tipping the head back so it's looking at the sky. If this is enough for you, you can stay here and that's great. If you'd like, you can reach back for your heels. Into full camel. Feeling the opening across the collarbones and in the throat. And then slowly coming back up to kneeling. And let's move to child's pose one more time. And just relax and breathe. Now, moving forward to the top of the mat on our belly. We'll rest our forehead down and our arms on the mat just for a moment. And then taking elbows under shoulders, fingertips spread, forearms straight out towards the top of the mat, opening up across the collarbones, lifting up and looking down. The gaze should be downward, just at the top of your mat, kind of in between your hands, for Sphinx pose. And I always think it's kind of fun in the Sphinx pose to imagine the Sphinx in Egypt and how regal and calm and serene it looks in this pose, and kind of channel that. Makes it fun too. And then coming back down. We've got our legs extended to the back, and let's extend our arms forward. And if you'd like, you can lift up the head an opposite arm or leg, if that feels good for you today. And then lift the head up and down and alternate the arm or leg. Or if you'd like to do a little bit more, we could do full Superman, which would be lifting up arms, legs, and head. Just a little bit off the ground and breathing. Extending through the arms, extending through the legs, fingertips spread. And then gently coming down to the mat with control. Let's now take a half frog pose. So I like to bring my hands together on top of one another, just above my head. That's what I like to do. If you want to use them as a pillow, you totally can. But then taking the right knee and bringing the thigh out to the right so that it's parallel with the top of the mat, and your right shin is parallel to the edge of your mat, and the toes are facing right, and your head is facing right. Half frog. And you can play with where the knee is. You can bring it up for a little bit more of a stretch in the groin, or bring it down as you like. And just kind of relax in this pose. I'm noticing I'm doing a lot of deep sighing today. It's a Monday, can you tell? And bringing the legs behind. Let's bring the left knee up so that left thigh is parallel to the top of the mat. Shin is at a 90-degree angle. We're looking towards the left. And adjusting our knee up or down as feels nice today. Trying to relax the groin area into the ground. And just as a tip for poses like this on our belly, if it ever hurts your chest, I know I have cysts and they sometimes hurt, or just, it's a little tender for whatever reason, you could always get a blanket and put it under your torso, your chest area to help if that makes it nicer. And bringing the legs back. Let's bring the arms alongside our body, so fingertips pointing in the direction of the toes. Let's lift up the legs off the ground, toes pointed, into a half locust. Really pointing out through the toes, nice, strong, long legs, nice, strong glutes. And lowering down. Relaxing into the mat. And we can do that pose again with the legs lifting up. That's great. If you want a little more, you can lift the chest, roll the shoulders back, arms straight back towards your toes, parallel to the ground, open across the collarbones, and just gazing at the top of the mat. Full locust pose. And breathing, not holding our breath in this pose. And lower down. Let's now push back to child's pose. Arms in front. Now flipping the right palm to the sky. Let's then take the right arm and bring it across our chest under the left underarm area and lower it down for thread the needle. Relaxing that right shoulder into the mat. Breathing through any tightness we feel. Never ignoring any pain, but breathing through any tightness and trying to relax into it. Bringing the right arm forward towards the top of the mat, then flipping that left palm to sky and sliding left arm across the chest over to the right and lowering everything down. Gazing towards the right. And maybe notice if one side feels different than another. And if there's a little more tension on this side, just focusing on consciously relaxing and breathing into it. Softening into the mat. Bringing the arms forward once again. Coming to tabletop. Let's bring the right leg out to the side so that our foot is parallel to the side of the mat and come up to a kneeling position. Bringing the left arm overhead and leaning towards the right as we gently place our right arm on the right leg, ideally not on the knee. We don't want to put extra pressure on the knee joint. Enjoying that stretch in the lower left side body near the hip. Rolling the left shoulder back. Really reaching through the side body and out the fingertips. And then coming back up to kneeling position. Keeping the leg exactly where it is, but bringing the arms down into a tabletop position. And then walking the hands forward to the top of the mat. Checking the position of our hips, so hips over knees. And you can adjust a little if things have shifted forward or back. Nice, strong, long arms, palms firmly into the mat. Breathing. Coming back to a tabletop position. Let's do the same on the other side. So bringing the left foot out to the side so that the foot is parallel to the side of the mat. Coming back to a kneeling pose. This time bringing the right arm up and over. Oh, whew. Energetically reaching from right knee up through the side body, through the shoulder, out the arm and fingertips. Not having the left hand on the knee, wherever it's comfortable on the leg is fine. And then coming up to a kneeling position, keeping the left leg where it is. Bringing the hands into a tabletop position. And then walking them forward to the front of the mat and lowering the torso down. Elongating the spine so your head should be in between your arms. And checking your position of your hips. Feeling the strength of your arms in this pose. Trying to relax your torso and your legs. And coming back to a tabletop position. Let's take the left leg and extend it forward into a half Hanuman, checking the position of our hips. Our hips are square to the mat. We're probably tenting our fingertips and resting on those fingertips or your fists if that feels more comfortable for you. Lengthening the spine. And then hinging at the hips and coming forward along the leg, if that feels good to you today. If you don't feel like coming over the leg, you don't have to. You can stay exactly where you are. And breathe. Then leading with the heart and coming back up to the half Hanuman pose. Let's take the right heel and bring it over to the left side of the mat. For an IT band stretch, bringing the toes into the center of the mat. And lengthening the spine on the inhale. And then lowering down over the leg on the exhale. And breathing into the sensation along the IT band. And easing off if it's too much. Keeping the toes pointed towards the center of the mat. And leading with the heart and the collarbones and coming back up. Bringing the foot back to the center of the mat, so long from the hips straight out to the heels. Then rolling forward onto the right foot into a crescent lunge. Arms up overhead, fingers pointing towards the sky. Lifting up that chest. Breathing. And then lowering the hands and coming back to tabletop. Let's now bring the left foot out in front. Heel on the mat, toes to the sky, half Hanuman. Reaching out through that spine and the inhale and then exhaling and lowering down over the leg. You may come down a little, you may come down a lot. If you don't feel like coming down at all, that's cool too. And then leading with the heart and collarbones coming back up. We do that to keep the spine nice and long and straight. Bring the heel over to the right side with the toes pointing towards the center. And then nice and long through the spine and coming over the leg. Exhaling. Being aware of the sensation along the outer band of your leg. And leaning in a bit more, easing off as you need to. Coming back up, bringing the foot back to half Hanuman. Rolling onto the left foot, leaning forward, coming to crescent lunge. Hands overhead, arms nice, long and strong, shoulders down away from the ears. Leaning forward a little bit more if you have it in you today. Lengthen out that front right hip flexor. Hands back down to the mat and coming into a tabletop position. Let's move the spine just a little bit more. We'll drop the belly, lift the tailbone, lift the chin and chest into cow. And then rounding the spine, tucking the tailbone, tucking the chin into the chest, pushing into the hands into cat. Feeling the abs working here. Dropping the belly to cow, lifting that heart, rounding the spine. Exhale, cat. And one more time, cow. And pushing into the hands, rounding the spine for cat. Coming to a neutral spine. Let's walk the hands forward just a little bit and bring right knee to right wrist for pigeon. Now, elongating the left leg behind, top of the foot to the mat. Focusing on lengthening up our spine, lifting up in the chest. Gazing up to the ceiling. And you can stay here or walk the hands forward, staying down on the hands, coming down to the forearms or coming all the way down. Being mindful of staying centered so that your pelvis area is basically centered to the mat. So what I mean by that is you're not rolling over onto your right hip, which sometimes happen. You're kind of square in the middle of your body. And wherever you are, if it's hands to the mat, forearms further down, wherever you are, just trying to really soften and relax your body in pigeon. Sort of letting all the tension go here. Breathing into any sensation you have. As long as it's not pain. If it's pain, we back off. But if it's, challenge, we breathe into the challenge. And then gently coming back up. Coming back to tabletop. And preparing for pigeon, second side, walking the hands forward. Bringing left knee to left wrist. And elongating the back right leg. Taking a moment here to enjoy the setup of being in pigeon pose. So enjoying the length of the leg behind. Lifting up through the heart, looking up to the sky. Dropping those shoulders down. And then on the exhale, lowering down as is comfortable for you. making sure that we're centered in our pelvic area. We're not tipping over from one side to the other, where we're nice and centered in our body onto the mat in this pose. And relaxing into pigeon, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the hands, relaxing the hips and the thighs, and breathing into all of that. Try to soften in the pose. And then pushing back up and coming to a seat. And then once we've settled onto our sitting bones, let's bring the legs out in front to staff pose. Bringing the legs in front of us, toes towards the ceiling. And taking a moment to lengthen up through our spine, crown towards the sky, shoulders down away from the ears. Inhaling as we lengthen up. And then exhale, let's hinge at the hips and come over the legs. And as we come over the legs, we sort of lengthen through the spine so we prevent any compression in our back. But then soften down and just sort of relax into the fold over pose. If you're able to inch forward a little bit more towards your feet, go for it. If you're happy where you are, you stay there, and that's great. Then we lead with our heart and we come back up to a seated position, seated staff. Now taking our hands and putting them behind us, we'll take our feet and plant them on the floor, about hip width apart, lifting our hips up and off the ground into a reverse tabletop. Trying to be mindful of where our hands and feet are, so feet, heels roughly under knees, hands roughly under shoulders. It's hard to get it perfect, but we try. And then you lift that pelvis up and relax the head back, if that is comfortable for you. And then lower it down. And this time, let's take the feet wide apart. Make sure we can feel our sitting bones. Make sure we lengthen up our spine. Inhale for a breath here. As we lengthen, and then tip it forward, hinging at the hips, forward, straight in front, either onto our hands, our forearms, or further down if you like. Try to breathe and relax into this pose. Nice stretch in the back of the thighs. And then we lead with our heart and we come on up. Let's do a revolved janu. So we'll do that by leaving the left leg exactly where it is, and take the right foot and bring it into the upper inner left thigh. Then lengthening up through the spine on the inhale, and we tilt our torso towards the right knee. Then we bring our arms up overhead and tipping to the left. We bring the left arm along the inside of the left leg and bring the right arm up and over, as if we're trying to reach towards our toes. And in this pose, we rotate the right shoulder back. You don't want to collapse forward. Nice open chest. and breathe. And then coming back up. Let's switch to the other side. So right leg nice and long, toes pointing towards the sky. Bring that left foot into the inner right thigh. Nice and long in the spine. Let's turn to the left knee. Bring the arms overhead. And then tilting to the right, have the right arm along the inner right leg. Left shoulder back. Left arm reaching up and over. And breathing. And trying to relax. Which I know sometimes feels a little easier said than done, but we try to aim for. And then coming back up. And then let's come onto our back with our knees pointed towards the sky and feet firmly planted, arms alongside our body. Lifting the hips up, pushing into the feet, lifting the hips up, rolling the shoulder blades and shoulders just slightly behind us. And let's clasp our hands behind our back on the mat, underneath our butt, essentially. And staying mindful of keeping the knees parallel, like about hip width apart. We don't want the knees sort of bending out to the side. We want to keep them nice and parallel to one another, about hip width apart. Pushing into the feet, engaging our glutes, lifting our pelvis up, opening up our chest, and coming back down, gently and with control. Let's hug our knees into our chest. And if it feels nice, you can rock back and forth just a little bit. And one more time, let's plant the feet. Arms alongside our body. Lift the hips up, roll the shoulders underneath, and clasp the hands together underneath your backside on the mat. If for whatever reason it's too intense to clasp it underneath, you can just place your hands, palms down onto the mat. Where they're comfortable, that's okay too. But engaging the glutes, lifting those hips up, and then with control, letting it down to the mat. Let's now cross left ankle over right outer knee. Bring the arms to goalposts, or a T if you like, that's okay too. And then tipping both knees to the left for a little bit of a twist. Breathing into the opening in your right hip, relaxing into that. And then bringing the knees back up, feet back onto the ground. Now crossing this time the right ankle over the left outer knee and bringing both knees to the right. Relaxing and breathing here. Nice time to scan for any tension in your upper body, your arms, your chest. Just try to let that go. Your hands. Coming back to center. Feet planted onto the ground. Taking the arms, reaching them in between the knees, And then reaching for and grabbing your outer feet. Bringing feet to sky into happy baby. Yeah, I thought it was a nice way to end a practice meditating on self-love and care by finishing in happy baby. Nothing lovelier than a happy baby. And if you want, you can rock back and forth here if that feels good, or you can, pull on the legs and just stay as you are. And breathe. And maybe just take a moment to see how your body feels here. How do your hips feel? Are they feeling maybe a little more open and flexible? Is your body feeling a little more open and flexible than it was when you started? Maybe a little calmer and more peaceful. And then bringing the feet and the knees together and lowering the legs along the mat into Shavasana. Tucking the shoulder blades underneath, bringing those shoulders down and away from the ears. Palms to the sky, face relaxed. Feet parted and off to either side. Palms to the sky and relaxing. One of the things I love about yoga, especially gentle yoga, is it provides us with an opportunity in our day to really approach our body and work with our body in a mindful, conscious, and loving way. To challenge ourselves without, beating ourselves up, and seeing if we can gently open up our horizons in many ways. Opening up what our body can do, and hopefully our mind as well, by leading us to a little more of a calm and relaxed state. And one more time, going back to the mantra that we started with. I love myself just as I am. Maybe being thankful for the ability for our body to carry us through our day and our class and our lives. Even if we do have a bit of gray hair, at least me. And with that, let's bring our feet to the mat, rolling over to the side and coming to a cross-legged seat.